Happy Friday. It's here. Things you might have heard for the Friday edition, Friday 15th of September edition in 2023. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, present for you in just a moment nine extra story here. Latest in yesterday's information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. Your go-to supplemental source for mainstream and unconventional news is right here for us. And you help us make that happen by literally helping us make it happen. You help us pick the stories. You vet the stories every single day for the broadcast you have here. And we're going to give you 9 of those top stories in just a moment. And if you're watching the video, we're talking about that guy twice. 2 times that guy, 2 Trump stories today. That's why we expanded to 9, because they're really similar and they're both kind of important, but we have other stories go as well. We want you to stop by our website. This is conversationproject.com for more details on what we do every single weekday and the weekends as well, on how we get you great information, great news, great conversational stuff, and how you help us join the conversation. Now, because the extra story gives us about 14 minutes and we'll get to our salesy stuff, our promotional stuff, which followed up by the second show, as we call it, the fun stuff happening as we have every single weekday morning. Let's get into the headlines for today, though. We are starting off on this day. Today, of course, as we said, is the 15th of September in 2023. Here are 9 stories that you vetted as conversational, and I curated for the best story, if you will. First headlines begins like this. Remember, yesterday we ended on the Mexican government having their UFO informational hearings with actual bodies of aliens, more or less. Today, we begin with NASA releasing more in a UFO report, saying that new science techniques needed to be understood so that we can actually understand what we saw. Essentially, our glasses were foggy. We didn't have the right technology to understand what we were seeing. Now we have better technology and we can understand it. I've not gone through the report, but trust me, many folks have, and many people have reported it. If there weren't for some other stories that were kind of earth-shattering and actually important, this one would be the top story all over the place. In fact, it was a top story for you in engagement because you all wanted to know about the UFO report released Thursday. You can go see it and just get the beat details on what NASA says about UFOs now that we know more to know more. We teased this story yesterday as a possible story for our conversational update, and you guys delivered. It's in the top 15. We'll go deeper into how the feeds work after we're done with all the headlines, but the headline we're talking about is Alan Moore donates film and TV money to Black Lives Matter. And the full headline for this reads like this, and it tells you the full story. Watchmen creator Alan Moore asked DC to send his film and TV royalties to Black Lives Matter, comma, or colon should say, recent movies don't stand by the original principles. That's in quotes at the end. Alan Moore, who of course wrote the comic book for Watchmen, also V for Vendetta and Batman's Killing Joke, very iconic comics from the day, is now basically fighting himself, if you will, or not fighting, if you want to say that, by saying all the royalties from these recent versions of the Watchmen based off of the actual comic book for the movies, and of course the current, more or less current show on Showtime, which, because Watchmen devolves into a alternate universe, alternate America, riffed off what happened on the background of Tulsa and the Tulsa race riots, saying that because of the way the story's been retold, the way it's been kind of rebuilt, basically saying that, you know, culture, degree, whatever, it's all changed. It's not about the original sort of culture from the actual original principles of the books, which were more or less lined up to, you know, tease boys into buying comic books. This has turned something that's a bit more complicated, for good or for ill. He wants those royalties going to Black Lives Matter because they've basically overtaken it with the stories from Tulsa race riots, from the Watchmen, the TV show. Your mileage may vary on this one, but this is one that's been controversial. That show, of course, very controversial for extending on the story of the Watchmen and taking it in a, as Alan Moore says himself, a slightly different direction. Johnson & Johnson is getting rid of its script logo after more than 130 years. The original logo for Johnson & Johnson was based off the signature of a guy named Johnson, who was a part of the actual founding of the company, way back when. Now, like many other companies, they're going simple, a sans serif font. It may look boring to you, but guess what? It's clean, it is modern, it works well on new things, and it is what it is. You may have some love for the old logo, but chances are you're probably lying to yourself. As a person who works in graphic design and dealt with marketing, there's a lot of talk about the branding and the logos having a part that has some sort of emotional tie to you. but it's not so much how it looks. It's the fact that you brand that logo to someone. So the look and feel does sometimes have homey things, but you can overcomplicate things. Johnson & Johnson is under complicating things. A very simple logo. You can see it on everything very soon. No longer the cursive. Now it's just a straight old font that looks like a regular font. It is what it is. The largest newspaper chain is hiring a Taylor Swift and Beyoncé reporter, or porteurs, drawing interest and ire. How would you like to fill the Beyoncé beat? How would you like to be the #1 Taylor Swift expert in the nation? Gannett may give you that shot. Gannett is laying off other people. About 47% in the last 3 years of people have been laid off in their newspapers. They own the largest swath of newspapers, of course, USA Today and local papers as well. And now they're hiring someone to cover Beyoncé and Taylor Swift because they're big business and kind of need to be covered. And they want to turn that into something that will bring some eyeballs in, changing the landscape, if you will. As we said, they've lost about 50%, 47% of journalists and workers in the actual company in layoffs and attrition over the last couple of years, but they're finding money for a Taylor Swift and Beyoncé reporter. That may get you a little head scratchy as well. It is a current plan. We'll see how well this one plays out coming soon. 2 for 1 for Trump. 2 stories for Trump today. Starting off with an actual serious one, a real serious one. Trump won't be tried with Powell and Chesebro next month in Georgia election case. Now, the judge went to the district attorney in Fulton County and asked, how are you going to try 19 people at once? Fannie Wilson had no good answer. The judge says, so you're not going to try 19 people at once. This means for 2 of the indicted who asked for speedy trials, which Fannie Willis is like, oh yeah, we'll take you in 2 months and we'll take everybody in 2 months. They're going in 2 months because they asked for it. No one else is. Everyone else will be delayed or booked a little bit later. We'll see how that works out. Of course, President Trump, former President Trump, or possibly future President Trump is hoping for an election win for him so he can make the other ones go away and delay this one a bit further as well, because he can say, oh, I'm kind of busy running the world. I can't go to Georgia for this trial this week. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. We'll see how that works out. The other story for Donald Trump, not so important, but also one that does sort of spark the curiosity at the moment. Megyn Kelly welcomes Donald Trump for interview 8 years after he erupted over her debate question. This is the second big interview she actually had with him. Of course, she had the interview after the whole debate thing, and now this is 8 years later as he's running for president again. So this is the other one was more of a makeup news thing. This is a campaign news story, and Donald Trump is doing what he can to get the eyeballs and earballs he can. Earballs in this case because she's on Sirius satellite radio, so her show is really a radio show that I believe has a simulcast its video as well, because many of them do. Now, one of the big things that you expect from a Donald Trump interview is all sorts of rambly stuff, which he gave that. And that is part of his deal. So that means that there's a lot of things that Megyn Kelly could have pushed back on and gave, follow-up questions, which didn't happen. Some really big ones include a lot of fake ballots in the 2020 election. No pushback whatsoever, no questions on it whatsoever. No ask about, well, where are these ballots? Who told you about these things? Where did they stuff them? Things like that. Kelly said that the debate issue is water under the bridge, way, way past there. And Trump said the question was a bad one. And Kelly said it was a great one. So they agreed to disagree on that one. That was a whole question that talked about the blood coming from your eyes and the whatever places, which turned into a thing back then. 2 stories for Trump for your Friday. I guess you're welcome. Let's get back to normal, more or less. Tory Lanez denied bond as he appeals his 10-year sentence in shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Now, remember, Tory Lanez was actually, convicted. He got the sentence, 10 years for shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot in a whole kerfuffle that should not have happened for a whole lot of reasons, plus the build up to that, as we heard that testimony of Megan and just essentially this domestic abuse. That's all it is, domestic abuse going forward. Tory Lanez has been denied bond by a judge on Thursday, so he's not getting out while his appeal is going on. Donald Glover and his brother, Stephen, said they were going to make a Lando TV show. Guess what? They're actually making a Lando movie because it's better I don't know. It just turns out that the TV show wasn't working out, so they're working a movie. They also have not decided if Donald Glover himself will be Lando again, or this will be a extenuation, a continuation of Lando, or maybe they'll go younger Lando the teenage years, Lando the Riverdale years, or something like that. That's not said it's going forward. They're still working it out with the story, the script, and whatever. And who's going to play Lando? Not quite there. He could play him again if it works out and he's got the time, but he's rapping, he does Atlanta, he's, in movies from other people, he's the new Mr. Smith. He's got things going on, so he's got to make sure he can fit the time to do the role, not just executive produce the movie he wants to do. And finally, for this morning, Princess Diana's iconic black sheep sweater was bought at auction at $1.1 million. This was apparently a last-minute addition for an auction, $1.1 million for a sweater that is a red sweater with white sheep across it and one black sheep down in the lower right side, I believe my knowledge is telling me. Now, here's the weird thing about the sweater. It's actually, one, very poor condition, found in the back of a closet in someplace that was like, hey, when she wore this, it was a big deal. We're going to pull it out and put it on auction. It made the money. B, it's actually the second sweater she had. The first sweater that she received had some sort of stain or stitching issue, so she sent it back and got a new one, which we all do. Princess Diana, just like us, complaining about her clothes and taking them back to the Target to get them redone. This one, unfortunately, because she wore it, earned $1,001,001 at auction. For our apologies, errors, and omissions today, one story that we're not talking about that will get more love as it spreads on. The Rolling Stones have talked about the new album, their brand new album that's coming out after years and years. They confirmed that Paul McCartney's on it, Lady Gaga's on it, Stevie Wonder, and many more folks there. So check out our links that we have for that one. That article came from Pitchfork, but you can search for it anywhere you want to about who's on the new Stones album. Our teaser story for this morning is a good one because we know we're going to be talking about this in some shape or fashion. It is strike time. It's strike time. It just is strike time. And our teaser story for today, to stretch out to possibly talk about for Monday, pretty sure we'll have something on this for Monday, is the headline: the UAW launches historic strike against all three big automakers. The very quick hit on this is, of course, the fact that the UAW is doing a targeted strike, a very strategic move where they're striking against all three automakers, but various unions and various people are striking. So only about maybe up to a third of folks are striking at a time, so that people can keep working and they don't drain the fund for people who aren't working. And it's felt pretty easily because different parts, different places, different things slow things down. Of course, a 10-day strike will be catastrophic for everyone. So we'll see how long they get this. They're looking for at least 40% raises over the next 4 or 5 years, things like that. We'll see how that works out. Now, we'll see how this works out for us talking about this. If you deem it worthy, go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter or X. It still goes to Twitter, so we're going to still call it Twitter till it's officially gone. Twitter, it is th_conversation. Facebook, it is This It's a Conversation Project. And as you see our news stories about every 50 minutes being posted there, like them, love them, hate them, share them, engage in the stories, get into the stories. The ones that you love the most or you hate so much you have to kind of put the little mean face on it. Get more engagement, better chance we have talking about it. Come Monday, we'll pull the first 30 stories, or top 30 stories, well, not the first 30, top 30 stories for the weekend over today, tomorrow, Sunday, and a little Monday. And we'll give you 10 of those stories in this thing here. So check it out on Monday. The rest of the week, it's 8 stories from top 15. We're going to talk about our Target sponsor for today, and it is not Target per se, but it is a newer sponsor to us called Sports Integrity. And Sports Integrity Inc. offers the best in sports memorabilia and just memorabilia in general. Check it out for all your needs for memorabilia. It's got sports stuff, and sports stuff is big because football, rah, 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 football. A lot of football stuff going on, so people are looking for things like that. Had a chance to go to a autograph signing at a convention a couple days ago, and it was great. It was awesome. The things were there, but the biggest problem was because of the way it worked. Every time I looked up when I was standing in one line, someone else's I wanted to get for autograph was walking away because they were taking breaks. You don't do that with someone like Sports Integrity. They have authentic memorabilia for you to get for sports, for entertainment, for all sorts of things you want to. You're looking for that signature from that guy or that gal. They may have it. They'll take care of it, and they can authenticate it for you easily. Check them out at our affiliate link. This is theconversationproject.com/sports integrity. This is theconversationproject.com/sports integrity. Check it out today. They will take care of you. As we say, this is an affiliate link, so we get a commission off of your buy. It costs you nothing extra. So to get that, they give us a cut of their cut for you joining them and get great stuff. And sports, now's the time. If you need something for your office, something for a gift, Sports Integrity will probably have it in their inventory there. The Conversation Project lives at this. It's theconversationproject.com, where you can find us and all the stuff we do at our website. 24/7 on the feeds, we are providing for you news stories. So the best thing you can do for us, just in general, is to follow us on the feeds and tell us what to talk about. Second best thing, also free, go to our email, go to your email and email us, theconversationinbox@gmail.com, and that tells us whatever you say will tell us. So usually it's good things. Usually it's good things. Sometimes it's not very nice things. And sometimes I worry about some of you people and the words you use. And do you kiss your mama with those mouths? Anyways, if you want to tell us what you want to tell us, we'll take it because it's in the email. You can also go to our affiliate links, as you said, the sponsors page. And if you deem us worthy, check out our partnerships page and see if there's ways we can hook up to work together to get more of these things out here. This is a long-standing project. It's had a couple lives, a couple pivots, but the path we're going on now is working very well. It's keeping me sane. It's getting enough money so I can buy the daughter snacks. Can't buy her meals yet, but she can get snacks. But we can use a little bit more help so we can do better things, grander things, and of course, hire more people to help work on this as a larger part of the media company. We thank you in advance for any help you want to, but remember, the most important thing you can do is feeds and emails. Now, as promised, we're going to get to the fun stuff. We do fun stuff. The second show, it's a whole nother thing at the end of the show every single weekday morning, and the fun stuff begins right now. We always begin the fun stuff with birthdays for the day. Today is no exception. September 15th, our birthdays on this day include Lisa Vanderpump, who's 62 years old today. I am told she is the matriarch. She's a very famous person. She's important to the Vanderpump Rules reality series on the E! Channel. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. These are things I'm told and things I'm sort of pondering. I have no idea who this woman is. I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. If my life depended on it, my life would be over. So these are why my insurance policies are paid up. I don't know who Lisa Vanderpump is, but you people do. So happy birthday to her. You kind of love her. She's 62 years old on the day. Tom Hardy, who's 46, who kind of got the short staff, although he really didn't, by getting to play Venom in the Sony versions of the Spider-Verse stuff that doesn't pull over to the MCU exactly, although it did. So we'll see maybe a Venom or sort of a Venom in the upcoming Spider-Man or somewhere in the MCU, because we had that little quick thing in the end of the last Spider-Man movie with all the realities and all the people coming in from different places. But otherwise, Tom Hardy, fairly good actor on his own anyway, 46 on the day. Happy birthday to Prince Harry, 38 years old on the day. Not sure exactly what he's doing because a lot of his deals are falling through. We know his wife's probably going back to work, which is probably a good thing. No, nothing wrong with that. But as far as princely stuff, less princely stuff, more funny-faced redhead stuff for Prince Harry. We always bring up him because when we bring his name up, when we say his name, you guys respond and we need the clicks. Now, not big clicks for this, but the history lesson for today is big on letting us know where we have gone. Starting off on this day, the 15th of September, starting back in 1968. You may not remember this if you were of a younger age. I mean, I know this very much from reruns, and it was a big deal in reruns. But Green Acres made its television debut on CBS on this day with Eddie Albert as Oliver Wendell Douglas, great name, and Eva Gabor as his wife, Lisa. Of course, the theme of Green Acres was a businessman decided he didn't want to be a businessman anymore. New York was way too much. He's going to Green Acres, middle of no place. His debutante wife, who was used to the luscious life, had to adjust in a very weird way, and very odd characters who were Macy's, the stereotypes of the day, of your general hick of the day, were the neighbors for the Douglases. In 1982, speaking of Gannett published its first issue of USA Today. The lead story was the auto accident death of Princess Grace of Monaco. Of course, we talked about them earlier in the first show about USA Today, or Gannett itself, looking for Beyoncé and Taylor Swift reporters. It's come a long way, let's tell you, in the past 40 years. And in 2018, archaeologists found the oldest known brewery remains of a 13,000-year-old beer in a cave, like a beer, like there, like, hey, somebody, literally hold my beer was sitting there, belonging to a nomadic Nautian people. I totally butchered that part, but guess what? Beer is everywhere. Beer's always been here. Beer will be here forever. The cockroaches will live off the beer we leave. Today, September 15th, we celebrate Someday. First, I want to put the earworm of Mariah Carey, Someday in your head. Take a moment to take that in, soak that in. Someday, ooh, ooh, someday. Got it. Now, why is today Someday? Literally, because this is the day that you should go ahead and do that thing you want to do someday. You're going to do something someday. You're going to start that new workout plan someday. You're going to get your finances order someday. You're going to clean your house someday. You're going to ask out that beautiful girl that you see every day in the coffee shop when you're waiting for your bagels. Guess what? Why not today? Today is as good as a day as anyway. So let's make today Someday and make this a day you finally do some of those things. Maybe all of them is a short list, but probably it's a pretty long list. Let's start one thing at a time. You say you're going to do it someday. Guess what? September 15th. It's a great day to do it. Right here today. You've got, depending on when you watch this thing, a whole, 12, 14, 18 more hours to get things done. So someday is today. Get it done today. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. This one for Christina with a K. If you haven't been sleeping in the nude, you might be missing out on some major benefits. A study about people who ditched their clothes before hitting the hay revealed they sleep better, about 80% better when you're nude versus 60% better when you're clothed. So obviously, if you're already nude, that sets things up for even more sex. Now, most nude sleepers say they're not doing it for the sex per se. They're really doing it for the comfort because they feel good. But sometimes the side effects are good. Side effects like gambling and cursing people out. Those are the side effects you kind of really want, although gambling can get kind of bad. You can take that on. Like I said, this one is for Christina with a K, and if she's embarrassed, well, she sort of earned it. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us for this edition, the Friday, September 15th edition of Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I will do this for you weekday mornings, Monday through Friday. That's what I do to get you into the groove of the news stuff, get you something to get conversational news stories into. Some things that were pretty obvious in the mainstream news and some things that get missed because they get missed. It is kind of what's going on. Thank you for telling me what stories to talk about because it doesn't work without that part, you being a part of the show, doing the feeds. Go to the feeds on Facebook and Twitter or X and let us know what stories to talk about. Email me constantly. Let me know what I need to be doing to improve or do less bad of. And if we're worthy of a partnership, join the partnership with us. Make sure you are staying limber and staying hydrated and staying on task because that is what life is all about. Literally, it keeps life going for you, and all the folks are looking for you to be around. With that, you've got a teaser story for your Monday and plenty of weekend to vote on. So get ready for a whole lot of engaging. Love you. We mean it. We're out of here. We'll talk to you on Monday with the next edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Oh, well, don't forget, it's Friday. So in a few hours, I'll start working on the full details, the full scripts for the weekly wrap up, which will give you the top 10 stories for the week. The full week, the stories per your engagement, no pull for me. You tell me what top 10 stories are there, plus some stories that you didn't care so much about. And the story of the week, where we'll go editorializing on one of those top 10 stories because it's a story that you said was important. And I'll pick one that, with a little bit of finesse, if you will, pick one that I can go into and riff a bit on. So all that's coming up for the weekend. And of course, the Monday edition of this thing. So with all that rattling done, we're going to officially get out of here for today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you come Monday.